Hello, people. Welcome to Principles of Economics. My name is Edward Mariyani-Squire, and I'm the unit coordinator for this subject. This is a quick video to orient you to the unit and to quickly navigate around the Views support website for this unit. Principles of Economics is held on 3 campuses: Parramatta campus during the day and evening, Bankstown campus during the day, and Campbelltown campus during the day. You should check your timetable for when the lectures are. You can choose which lectures to go to. You should also check for where your tutorials are. The lectures start in week 1, that is, the week starting the 22nd of February. Tutorials, on the other hand, start in week 2, that is, the week beginning the 29th of February. The Views support website is open now, and it has all the goodies that you'll need to survive in this unit. So let's have a look at that now. So here's our Views website, and we can see here that we've got announcements, staff contacts. Let's click on staff contacts. Here you can see we've got the admin staff, the admin support person, which is Isla. That's her here. Me, the unit coordinator, I'll be giving lectures on Parramatta campus, and for the first few weeks at Campbelltown campus as well. There is Partha, who will be giving the lectures at Bankstown campus. Taneem, who will be giving the evening lectures at Parramatta campus, and Mark Chenoweth, who will be giving the lectures after the first few weeks at Bankstown campus. Obviously, I don't have a picture for Mark, but that's not an inaccurate likeness. We go back up to the contents here. We've got a link for external students. So this is, if you're a student who is enrolled on campus, you ignore this page. This is only for students who are doing the unit externally. That is, students who don't come onto the campus because they live a long way away for some reason or other. But for those of you who are external students, you definitely should come to this page and read through it, because there's some special tasks for you to perform during the semester. We've also got unit information, which provides you with the learning guide and the unit outline. There's also the textbook. You can see here, here's a picture of the textbook. It's by Sloman, Norris, Garrett, and Garrett. It's called creatively Principles of Economics. It's the 4th edition. That's what it looks like. It's in the bookstores on campus now, so you can buy it on campus, or you can go online and buy it from the campus bookstore online. It's the 4th edition. You might, for some reason or other, have a 3rd edition. It's unlikely, but you might. If that's the case, you can use that textbook. It's perfectly fine. If you have some other textbook, not by Sloman, Norris and Garrett, then that might be okay, but we would prefer that you purchase this textbook if you can. Then we've got the lectures, and we can see here the folders for each of the lectures for every week. If you click on any one folder, you'll find inside the lecture slides that are based on the textbooks. So the first lecture is based on chapter 1 of the textbook. I should say about the lectures that although the lecture slides that are available here to you, which you can download and take along to the lecture with you, although the lectures on each campus by each individual lecturer will be based on these slides, they won't necessarily be identical. Each lecturer will give their own lectures. The content will essentially be the same, but the style that they bring to the lecture theatre and what they choose to emphasise will be distinctive to them. And this kind of variety, I think, is a good thing. If there were, 3 clones of me giving lectures in the other campus, I think that would be mildly disturbing. So this kind of variety is good. The lectures on each campus by each lecturer will be recorded, and immediately after the lecture has finished, they will be uploaded onto the views site here for you to look at again. You should bear in mind that the lectures don't cover every single thing that is in the textbook. The lectures, as a general rule, will emphasize topics or concepts or operations or models or theories that are a bit difficult and might not be easily comprehensible simply by reading the textbook. So the lectures will tend to emphasize certain things in the textbook. They won't cover literally everything in the textbook, which means the textbook and the lecture notes, the textbook and the lectures are complementary. They're not substitutes. One enhances the other. One is not an alternative for the other. There's also a link for tutorials. You should read that. That tells you what's going to happen, the assessment task in the tutorials. In the second week, when you have your first tutorial, your orientation tutorial, you'll be given information about what's going to happen in the future tutorials and how that will be organized. So I'm not going to talk about that any further. There's also a discussion board which you can go onto, and see there's a bunch of discussion board topics there for you to go and comment on and argue with each other respectfully. There'll be quizzes as part of the assessment task. There's a link for practice exams that give you an idea of the style and level of difficulty of the final exam. And that's essentially that for the Views website. What should you do next? What should you do in preparation? You should acquire the textbook and read through the first chapter, and make sure when you read you take notes. Don't just read, and don't just use a highlighter. This might give you the illusion that you're learning something, and you are learning something for a short period of time, but after a couple of weeks, that information which you've read will start to disappear from your brain. You retain it much more substantially. You internalize that information if you take notes as you're reading. So with each paragraph that you read, you should have some kind of a book. And by notes, I mean on paper with a pen. You should have an exercise book as you read through each chapter, paragraph by paragraph. Take short notes on what the essence of that paragraph was and move through the chapter in that way. This way you will retain information about the chapter that you're reading or the lecture notes that you're reading over to a far greater extent than if you didn't. If you can't get hold of the textbook immediately, then the next best thing to do is to download the first lecture slides, from the first week, and read through those, and take brief notes on those as well, as an alternative. So that's pretty much that. I don't think there's really anything else to add other than principles of economics sometimes has a reputation of being a difficult unit. And I think this reputation is entirely undeserved. It's true that this unit requires you to study, but it doesn't require you to be a genius to understand it. Put it that way. But it does require work. It requires you to study the material and to internalize that material. So that's what I would say about it in terms of its difficulty, or the reputation of the difficulty that it has. I should also say it's a very important subject, as is economics in general. Certainly the essential concerns of economics lie at the core, at the foundation of all business-related units. If we're talking about choices by consumers, or we're talking about the subsequent effect on the revenue of firms, or we're talking about the costs of producing goods and services, if we're then talking about the profit maximizing outputs that firms might be able to choose, if we're talking about the allocation of resources between alternative uses within a society, if we're talking about why governments might sometimes regulate or manipulate consumers or producers in markets in an attempt to produce different sorts of outcomes to those which would have occurred otherwise. Whether we're talking about the big issues, such as how do you conceptualize an entire economy anyway? And by what means does an economy grow? What can cause an economy to go into a recession or even a depression? What types of unemployment are there, and what are their causes? What causes inflation, and is deflation a danger? These are all concerns, not just of someone who is interested in business, and is therefore the foundations for the more detailed subjects within business, but it's also important to understand as a citizen. If you're to be an intelligent, contributing, voting member of society, it behooves you to understand what politicians are talking about when they put forward various types of economic policies. Otherwise, you could be making decisions as a citizen and as a voter, which may be against your own interests, or may be against the interests of society as a whole. Anyway, that's enough preaching from me. I look forward to seeing you in the lectures and online, and I wish you all the best for this unit.